It's almost impossible for Russians to access impartial information about the war in Ukraine. Censorship laws have led to the closure of all independent news sources. One of the last independent suppliers of TV news to end broadcasting from Russia was Rain TV. They shut down operations in Moscow on the 3rd of March. Their last broadcast cut then to a taped version of Swan Lake, referencing state TV practice in Soviet times. And I am happy to welcome to the day Tikhon Tsayatko, editor-in-chief of Rain TV, to the day. Thank you very much for your time, sir. It's good to be with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good to be with you. TV Rain was the first to shut down in the early days of the war. Can you take us back to that very moment when a crackdown was announced on the media, and how did you and your colleagues experience that moment?
Well, it was very, very difficult on the one hand. On the other hand, it was an very weird times. We were working 24/7. We had only on YouTube 25 million views per day, and most of them were from Russia, from Russian viewers, which meant for us that a Russian audience was absolutely eager to get independent information about what's happening in Ukraine, about this terrible war. But unfortunately, we had to shut down our operation. It was because our website was blocked, and the Russian lawmakers adopted a new law saying that you could face up to 15 years in jail if you spread so-called fake news information about Russian military activities in Ukraine, and we were forced to leave. But what is important now is that we are planning to relaunch our operating, and I hope that in a month or so, TV Rain will be relaunched, and we will spread real information about what is happening in Russia and in Ukraine and all over the world to our audience.
I will ask you about that in just a moment, but first, can you give us an idea of where people now get their news from inside Russia?
Well, almost all of independent websites are blocked now in Russia. Almost all of social media pages are blocked now in Russia, such as Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Telegram is not blocked yet, maybe. YouTube is not blocked yet, maybe. Of course, a lot of people are using VPN services to get access to the blocked websites. But of course, at the same time, we understand that the possibility for the Russian audience to get access to this blocked website is now smaller than it used to be. But as long as I understand, as long as I know, a lot of Russian-speaking audience inside Russia are still getting information from independent media sources. For example, me and my wife, our news director at TV Rain, Ekaterina Katrikadze, we are having our own individual YouTube channel now, where we are telling news about this war. And it has more than 200,000 subscribers, and most of them are from Russia.
Interesting. You, as you referenced, you will be broadcasting now from another country, if I understand correctly.
That's correct.
How do you intend to reach your audience, and who is your intended audience?
Well, we have now two important challenges. The first challenge is how to get information from Russia, and the second challenge is how to deliver this information into Russia. We understand that we have to build a network of anonymous sources inside of Russia, but at the same time, we understand that the level of requests of the independent in Russia is huge. So Russian audience in Russia is our main audience. But at the same time, the second our audience is Russian-speaking people who left Russia maybe now, maybe 30 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. They are now somehow connected because of this war. They are somehow connected now because of the consequences of this war. So I think that the independent reporting now is very much appreciated by the people who are speaking Russian, because you could get this information about 80% of Russians who support the war, but this is just not true. A lot of people in Russia, they do not support the war, and they want to get an independent information about what is happening there.
Now, at this moment, as you know, it is difficult to see how ties between Russia and Europe can be repaired with the war going on. What is your message to people who want to support the Russian people?
My message is that there is Russia and there is Russia. There are Russians and there are Russians. Russians, they are not Kremlin, they are not Putin. There are a lot of Russians who do not support the war. They are afraid of speaking about the war. They are afraid of going and protesting to the streets. But people are different. The important thing that I know that a lot of Russians, they are against this terrible, horrible war, and they want their country to be a democratic, beautiful country.
All right, Tikhon Zaitko, former editor-in-chief of RAIN TV, thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you.